celebrating its 50th season. This is the Luther Ford Lincoln Coaches Corner.
Week number 10, the high school football season. And the Heritage Westpac crossovers. Good morning. Todd Marino with you. Ward Hilliard is here.
What as usual.
Scoreboard coming up. How about that last night, Ward? We were thinking Westpac looked pretty strong this year, and the Heritage goes out and throws a shutout at it.
Wow, it's really, to me, it was a big surprise. It kind of says how really strong the Heritage is. We kind of took them for granted, but wow, what a night for it.
Yeah, we look at all those records and we think, oh, they're just middle-of-the-pack records. Well, it's because they were beating up on each other.
Yeah, pretty even, huh?
Last night, the Heritage Conference won them all, and today they get the chance with 3 more games to do it again. So here's your scoreboard from last night. We'll start with the team that will be the number 1 seed in Class A. Northern Cambria travels to Portage. We called it a horse race because it's the Colts and the Mustangs. And Northern Cambria whooped them 34-8. Amazing performance.
Not easy to do there. Easy.
Penns Manor takes the trip to Berlin Brothers Valley. 22-14, the final for the Comets there. The Blairsville Bobcats get a win to end the season. They beat North Star 40-6. How about the Salzburg Trojans? They turn up the defense. They beat Black Lake Valley 15-7. The United Lions and Hunter Cameron going absolutely crazy on Conemaugh Township last night. What do you hear his numbers?
We did hear them. I was just amazed.
36-14. The Lions win it. West Shamokin makes the long bus ride to Myersdale, and their bus doesn't show up on time. But they beat them 28-0. The Wolves are set for the District 6 playoffs. Homer Center's Wildcats travel to Winber. Beautiful facility.
Yeah.
Unusual team in the Winber Ramblers. And Wildcats took it to them, 35-15.
Little throwback we'll talk about a little bit later.
There are 3 games left to play. Marion Center is at Conemaugh Valley today. All kinds of playoff ramifications there. Purchase Line is at Ferndale. That'll have an impact on the playoffs as well. And tonight, the Appalachian Bowl. Ligonier Valley against Shade back at Winber.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's wide open offenses and wide open rain showers all night.
All right, District 6 scores. A lot of interest here. Bellwood Ennis defeating Southern Huntington 42-20. Bellwood's going to be the 3rd seed in AA. Clearfield beat Bishop Carroll 49-0. Tough for the Huskies this year. Bishop McCourt, Bishop Guilfoyle playing last night. Battle of the Bishops, Guilfoyle 28, McCourt 13. Everett beats Claysburg Kimmel 12-6. A couple of our Heritage Conference teams looking at that game. Yeah. Forest Hill 16, Penn Cambria 12. Penns Valley beat Phillipsburg Osceola 56-7. Somerset over Central Cambria 37-2. Mount Union gets another win, 21-6 over Williamsburg, which finishes winless on the year. Richland has a fantastic quarterback. They benched him last night. Not because of anything he did. He wasn't a runner, and they needed a runner on a muddy field. They played once beaten Chestnut Ridge. Richland holds on 24-20 behind a freshman quarterback. Northern Bedford 20, Glendale 7. Tussey Mountain, a 42-7 win over Moe Valley. Juniata Valley 40-0 over West Branch. That virtually, well, it does. Should Marion Center win today, it puts Marion Center into the playoffs. Westmont Hilltop 42, Cambria Heights 21. That's another team that Marion Center can vault today in the AA standings. So the Marion Center Stingers have a lot to play for today. Other scores around the area. Indiana had a chance to make it into the WPIAL playoffs. They fell short. Lost to Greensburg-Salem 17-0. Derry 35, Burrell 14, 9-1.
Huh?
Yeah, 9-1 for the Trojans. Red Bank Valley beat Punxsutawney 54-27. Armstrong with the 24-21 win over Kiski area. And there is your scoreboard. And it is the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program celebrating 50 years on AM 1450 WDAD, 100.3 FM. Online, you can get us at the sports channel directly linked at WDADradio.com. Good morning to you. Thanks for being with us on a rainy Saturday. Don't forget the Trick or Trot 5K getting underway this morning as well to benefit the Teddy Bear Fun Drive.
SUV season's in full swing at Luther Ford, and Ford and Luther Ford have just released amazing deals on America's top-selling brand.
Always unstoppable Ford SUVs. And with the fall season upon us, and I dare say winter not far behind, now's the time to take delivery on a new Ford SUV.
Just announced during SUV season, get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2018 Ford Escape, plus $2,000 in additional savings. Includes $500 Ford bonus cash, $500 Conquest cash, and $1,000 in additional Ford credit bonus cash.
You can also lease a 2018 Ford Escape SE 4-wheel drive for just $219 a month for 36 months with $2,629 due at signing.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for red carpet lease or Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
See the Escape and the complete lineup of SUVs in Ford Tough Trucks during SUV season at Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
And remember, shop 24/7 at LutherFord.com.
If your weekend has started with a strain or a sprain, a sports injury, concussion, even a fracture, an ankle injury in Friday's game, an elbow injury from that wobbly ladder, if you've been hurt, visit the IRMC Physician Group Saturday morning injury clinic from 8 a.m. to noon at the Human Motion Institute, Suite 100 on the Indiana Regional Medical Center campus. Walk-ins welcome or call 724-427-2260 that morning to let them know you're coming. On-site x-rays available. The Saturday morning injury clinic is open every Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon, Suite 100 at the Human Motion Institute.
This is Jim Struzzi, candidate to be your next state representative. I'm running because leadership matters, because experience matters, and above all, because integrity matters. I have been a dedicated public servant for more than 2 decades, and I will be ready to go on day one to address the key issues facing our communities like the elimination of school property taxes, ending the opioid crisis, improving our education system, helping senior citizens and families, growing businesses and jobs, strengthening infrastructure, and putting more money in your wallet. Please give me, Jim Struzzi, your vote on Tuesday, November 6th. Paid for by the Friends of Jim Struzzi.
It's the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDAD, 100.3 FM. Also online at the Sports Channel, directly linked at WDADradio.com. It's unusual for us today in these game summaries because we got to get on our ponies here, Ward. With all of the teams playing unfamiliar opponents, Westpac opponents, that means we've got more game summaries than usual. We usually can cover 2 teams with 1 game. Now we have to cover more.
Yeah. One less coaches interview, but 7 more games. Huh?
All righty, let's start it with the game at Conemaugh Township last night for the United Lions and Coach Kevin Marabito. He has his team just so laser focused. They come away with a fantastic 36-14 win. How about Hunter Cameron's night? 38 carries, 353 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 2-point conversion. He was over 200 in the first half. Just an amazing performance by him and by an offensive line that I haven't seen come together as they have for a long, long time. Just an amazing performance last night by United. But Conemaugh Township gets on the board first. Jordan Poznansky intercepts a pass, returns it 49 yards for a touchdown on United's first possession after the Lions had intercepted a pass. So trailing 7-0, United answers a 4-play, 65-yard drive. Cameron dashing it into the end zone from 26 yards. It's 7-6. And you can see right away that Conemaugh Township is behind the 8 ball because the Lions were much, much bigger. And later in that first quarter, the big guy for Conemaugh Township went down with a broken collarbone. Their big fullback, Corey Myers. And so he was out, and they were down to just 1 weapon, really, on the night. Lions' offensive line, tremendous. Cameron was fantastic. United scores on a 76-yard, 14-play drive with Cameron capping it with a 6-yard run. It's 12-6 Lions at that point. And then after a short punt, a 3-play, 38-yard drive for United, Cameron blasts it in from 24 yards. Lions lead it 20-6 after Cameron's 2-pointer. Conemaugh Township then puts together a solid drive. They go 80 yards to the Lions' 3. They have 4th down and goal to go. Poznansky is stopped at the 1, but he fumbles it ahead, questionably, into the end zone where tackle Ryan Yingling falls on it for a TD, and it's 20-14 at that point.
Little Oakland Raiders stuff there.
That's what I said. I said Kenny Stabler at quarterback. So 1:38 left in the half, and United's lead is cut to 6. What do the Lions do? They get a great kickoff return from Eli Clevenger, and the Conemaugh Township coaches to our left are screaming their heads off because Clevenger was waving his hands like a fair catch. I think he was just trying to get the rain out of his face mask, and he caught the ball and he ran it all the way back to the 47-yard line. So the good return by Clevenger. 3 plays later, Cameron rips off a 31-yard run. Fantastic move. Get it to the 3-yard line. Kyle Silk then scores from 3. Silk adds the 2 to make it 28-14 United at the half. Kyle Silk limited last night by that hamstring, but he went the whole way until they were well ahead in the fourth quarter.
That's amazing.
Really was. Hunter Cameron, first half, 28 carries, 238, and 3 TDs. It was that kind of a night. Third quarter, Cameron scores his 4th TD, caps a 77-yard drive, a 35-yard run. Silk's conversion, it's finally 36-14 after 3. That's how it ends. And Cameron, again, 353 on 38 carries, 4 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion.
38 carries. That's a season for a lot of people.
I'm telling you.
You can imagine Coach Marabito going in that locker room game week after week. Not sure which team's going out on the field.
Well,
wow.
he's got a team now that's put together 4 in a row and is just playing some fantastic football. They got after Poznansky. That quarterback had 1,300 yards coming in, and he'd thrown for about 500 more. He was a weapon, and he did manage to find a couple of holes. But you're going to when you're that kind of a guy. But they just shut him down. The defense for United shut him down last night.
Good for them.
So after the game, we talked to Kevin Marabito, the head coach of the United Lions.
This was as impressive an offensive line performance as we've seen in quite some time. But we said that last week after the Marion Center game. Those guys up front are playing really, really well.
Yeah, Todd, they get better every week. I mean, what can you say about them? I mean, they're opening holes. I mean, our run game, I mean, people say you don't put the ball in the air, but you know what? When the offensive line's blocking the way they're blocking right now, I mean, they're gelling together. And I told you earlier, these kids have been together since January. They're like brothers, and they'll do whatever they can. You know, then when you got a running back like Hunter tonight, you know, what can you say? I mean, that offensive line is stellar, and we just got to keep it rolling right now.
It seemed like they said to themselves, all right, Kyle's a little banged up. We might not be able to rely on him very much. Hunter took it upon his shoulders. They took it upon theirs, and they just turned in an incredible performance. You said before the game your best defense tonight was going to be your offense.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, really, if you look at it, you know, Hunter was special. I mean, tonight was a special night for him, the way he ran the offensive line. But, you know, the thing with it is we're playing as a team. I mean, it doesn't matter who's getting the ball. Like tonight, Kyle was dinged up, and, you know, Hunter had to take it in his shoulders. You know, next week it may be just the opposite. But, you know, when you got an offensive line blocking the way we block, I mean, shoot, I think we only ran, you know, maybe 2-3 plays. I mean, it was the same thing. We were just coming at them, and, you know, when you get them blocking and, you know, Hunter reading what he has. I mean, Hunter, some of his cuts tonight were just unbelievable, and he was running people over. I mean, he ran possessed, and you know, it's something we need each week, and you know, every game from here on out.
Well, one of the things that was in our booth, the Conemaugh Township coaches were right beside us, and they were calling the plays just like everybody else was. Nobody had any surprises tonight. They knew exactly what was coming, but they couldn't stop it, and that just says so much for a cohesive unit.
Well, it is, Todd. If you remember back to Laurel Valley days when Coach Page was there, I mean, they could call every play, but, you know, when you block it and execute it, you still got to stop it, you know, and it doesn't matter. I mean, the running joke last week was our kids was actually telling a few of the Marion Center kids, hey, we're coming here and it's on one. And, you know, and when you got that type of confidence, I mean, our kids up front are just playing with all kinds of confidence, and it makes it easy. I mean, I don't call the offense, but Coach Max calling the offense, it's making it easy for him. I mean, a couple of years back we were calling the wrong plays, but, you know, it seems like right now we're only running a couple of plays and they're working, everybody's happy. But, you know, the offense is doing a great job, and it's what I said earlier. If they control the football, and we did that tonight, and that made it a lot easier on our defense.
Well, speaking of your defense, Poznansky is a pretty slippery kid back there, and it's awfully difficult to contain him, but you did that too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was our best defensive performance in a long time. I mean, we, you know, I don't remember last. I mean, we gave up that interception return for a touchdown, and other than that fumble in the end zone that they got, I mean, our defense pretty much played stellar. I mean, we knew we had to defend the perimeter. You know, we felt they weren't going to run an A gap. You know, we had to defend B and C, and, you know, he broke a few, but, you know, we pretty much hemmed him in, and that's a credit to the defensive players. I mean, they did your job. They took their keys and did things. I mean, there were some things they didn't like. I didn't think we get out well in the past, but that's things we're going to have to work on.
As we talk on a Friday night, we don't know what next week's opponent will be, but we do know it's going to be on your field, and that has to feel pretty good.
Yep. I mean, that's one thing you strive for. I mean, we've been on the road, you know, really 6 games this year. You know, we get another one at home. You know, we got to make the best of it. You know, we're going to savor this moment tonight. And we'll, you know, Sunday we'll know our opponent, and we'll just get ready, and it'll be nice being home, and, you know, hopefully we get a great crowd behind us.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you, Todd.
There's Kevin Marabito, his United Lions, with a very, very impressive performance last night. And again, that offensive line, Ward, is doing things that you haven't seen for a long, long time. Ligonier Valley's offensive line does this to teams, and now United's is starting to push people out of the way, too. They're getting big holes, and they're getting to the point where they're 8 to 10 yards down the field before the running back's even touched.
That's something I'd like to run behind, huh? I don't want to be touched.
If you had a car, but that's the only way you'd get there. 8:15 in the morning, it is the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDID, 100.3 FM, online, the sports channel at WDIDradio.com.
SUV season's in full swing at Luther Ford, and Ford have just released amazing deals on America's top-selling brand.
Always unstoppable Ford SUVs. And with the fall season upon us, and I dare say winter not far behind, now's the time to take delivery on a new Ford SUV.
Just announced during SUV season, get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2018 Ford Escape, plus $2,000 in additional savings. Includes $500 Ford bonus cash, $500 Conquest cash, and $1,000 in additional Ford credit bonus cash.
You can also lease a 2018 Ford Escape SE 4-wheel drive for just $219 a month for 36 months with $2,629 due at signing.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for red carpet lease or Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
See the Escape and the complete lineup of SUVs and Ford tough trucks during SUV season at Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
And remember, shop 24/7 at LutherFord.com.
There are more than 3 million women living with breast cancer in the United States. Sadly, about 41,000 of them will die from breast cancer this year. Early detection of breast cancer is vital. Did you know the M. Dorcas Clark Women's Imaging Center at the Indiana Regional Medical Center offers walk-in 3D mammograms every Monday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.? That's right, no appointment is needed, just walk in. Here's Dr. Dan Clark.
Every woman should start mammograms on a yearly basis beginning at age 40. Now, if you have a family history of breast cancer, you should get your mammogram 10 years younger than the youngest person with cancer in the family. And if somebody in your family is BRCA positive, you really should get tested for BRCA in your mid-20s.
The bottom line, ladies, don't skip your 3D mammogram. Walk-in mammograms every Monday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the M. Dorcas Clark Women's Imaging Center at the Indiana Regional Medical Center. Always great care. It's the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, a Saturday morning. Week 10 of the high school football season. Ward Hilliard is in the studio. Mr. Bill Otto exiting the studio.
He's leaving. He's running. He can't go like that. Stop.
First quarter action for us here. A lot of games to cover. And we want to go to the Northern Cambria Colts Portage Mustangs.
Yeah, that looked like a real good game. You know, you've been there, Todd. Playing in Portage is like throwback.
It really is.
It's like old-time football, and boy, Colts really put it on them. That's not easy to do in that field.
You get the train running by in the third or fourth quarter,
Yeah.
and everybody's having a good old time. So the Northern Cambria Colts are going into this game with a chance to become the number 1 seed. And by golly, they did it.
They did it with emphasis.
34-8, the final over the Portage Mustangs. Ben Vasil, 23 carries, 145 yards, 2 scores. Mark Marino ran for 112 and a score. Vasil opening the scoring, a 19-yard run On the Colts' first possession, Marino adds a 5-yard touchdown run with a 2-point conversion later in the quarter. It's 14-0, and that was all the scoring in that first half. So 14-0 at the break. But in the third quarter, Marino hits Adam Capera 13 yards for a scoring pass, 20-0. Then Ben Vasil punches it in from a yard out at the start of the fourth. Tyler Beerer caught a 2-point conversion. 28-0 before the Mustangs got into the end zone on an 11-yard run by Seth George. But then sophomore Owen Prasco rounds out the scoring in mop-up time, and he rips off a 43-yard touchdown run to close it out. And so Northern Cambria also looking at the future, and Owen making his statement there from 43. Colts had 372 total yards. They held the Mustangs to 234 yards. And remember, Portage has two guys that have rushed for over 1,000 already this year. Connor Price held to 69, Cole Sosung to 64 yards. And also, Northern Cambria stops Portage at the 5-yard line in the first half. It ends up being something really big because, remember, it was 14-0 at the break.
Yeah.
And that stop, Portage had some chances last night. They just couldn't convert them. And the Colts defense stands up, offense stands up. It all starts along the line of scrimmage. And, well, they stood up. They stood up Portage is what they did. Here's Sam Schutte. Schutte and his Northern Cambria Colts. Wow, Coach. It looks like you're going to be top seed in District 6 playoffs Class A. But just as important for you, you've got yourself a first-round bye, and the guys get to rest up and heal up a little bit.
Yeah, really. We're really happy and excited for both of those things. One of our goals was to be number 1 seed, and obviously we have a tough road ahead of us in the playoffs, but this bye week is very important. We got a couple guys injured and really need the rest this year.
We looked at the Westpac crossover games this year, and I heard it said by some, and this is one of our themes this morning, that Westpac seems to have a better chance at taking these games. Boy, last night the Heritage Conference took it to them, didn't they?
Yeah, we really did, and I think that just goes to show what type of conference we have. It's a very tough conference. I said at the very beginning of the season, there's really no weak teams from top to the bottom. We're very solid, and not to discredit the Westpac because I thought they have some good teams too. But I think we just showed up last night as a conference.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody said that your game was going to be the toughest matchup of all, as we called it the horse race, the Colts and the Mustangs. But you came right out at them, and you ran the football at them. What did you see from Portage on film that made you approach the football game the way that you did?
Well, we didn't approach this football game different than any other game. I mean, we just knew that our guys had to get it done up front. We challenged them all week like we always do. We worked really hard on the things that we thought we can take advantage of, and our boys executed well last night.
Well, especially along the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball too.
Yeah, defensively was something that was a concern all week for us, and that was a big focus in practice throughout the week. I thought Portage's line was exceptionally good. They're not only big, but they were fast, and they're very efficient in how they pull and how they get on their blocks real quick and move people. And we were able to really, for the most part, bottle them up and keep them contained. And I was really, really impressed and proud of how our guys played on the defensive line.
They have two guys that rushed for 1,000 yards this season already, and you held them both under 70 yards last night. It had to be not just the line of scrimmage, but everybody, total team defense.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it started with our defensive tackles and our defensive ends, and I thought against Penns Manor they had a not the best outing, and we challenged them all week, and we worked really hard on doing the right type of technique and making some lanes for our linebackers to scrape and fill, and our secondary guys. And it was an 11-guy effort last night, and that's what you need to do to win against better teams like Portage.
So you get up 14-0 in that first half, and third quarter, Mark hits Adam Capera, and you're 20-0 at that point, and you're just punching it out. You get up to 28-0 after Ben's touchdown there in the fourth quarter. Talk, if you would, for a couple of moments about your running game and not only how it performed last night, but how it has all season, and especially with Logan now out of the lineup.
Well, with Logan being out, Ben had to get some more reps, and Mark had to step up his game too. I knew Mark's such a very key player for us on offense and defense, so this year our focus was to keep him healthy, and because if he would go down, we would be really in trouble, I think, on both sides of the ball. So with Logan going down, Mark had to step his game up and get a little bit more carries, and I thought he did exceptionally well last night. He broke a really big one there for, I think, a 70, 80-yard run, and he's reading really well and doing the things that he needs to do. And Ben Vasil is just coming into his own. I mean, he is just running so hard this second half of the season. I think the first half of the season he ran really well too, but the way that he's running, he's finishing runs, he's not looking to run away from contact, he's running towards contact and finishing his runs very hard. I'm just very impressed, and it's very fun to watch him run the ball. And Capera, I think, has just been waiting for his opportunity to break out. And as I said, we can't discard what Logan has done, and we really miss him. But Capera has filled in there very nicely as well. And again, I think these guys just love to run behind the line like we have. I think these guys open up holes, and the thing that our line does so well is they make adjustments on the fly, and there's things that they do in the games and between the plays that we don't even know about, because that experience that they have is just, you can't teach that. You can't get that all the time. It's just a special thing where these guys just kind of seen everything, and they're just able to make adjustments in between plays, and it's very, very beneficial for our offense.
Yeah, I don't want to disparage Mark in any way, but Ben looks like a gazelle out there running. He's such a graceful runner, and Mark doesn't look fast, but then he rips off a run like that, and you say, wow. He might not look pretty running, but he sure gets the job done, and when he needs his speed, he calls on it.
Yeah. I tell you, it's very, as I said, it's so impressive to watch Ben run, because he's so smooth and he glides, but as I said before, I think the way that he's finishing his runs, he's running with power too, and it's very enjoyable to watch. And I think last night somebody said something about Mark. It's like, Mark's fast for the first 10 yards, and I think he's more deceptively fast with that ankle. I think it's slowing him down a little bit, but Mark's fun to watch too. He's a different style. I mean, he runs with power, and he's quick in between the tackles, and then he runs with power to get those extra yards. So yeah, it's been a different combination, but it's been an effective combination with Mark and Ben.
All right, Coach, you're going to get a week off here to rest up. I don't know if you've even decided on a schedule for the guys, but I know that they're going to enjoy the rest and healing, and then they're going to come back strong for a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, we hope so, and I think the guys do need this break. We have a couple guys that are really dinged up and just need this week of rest. But I told the guys, we got to stay hungry. We got to stay motivated. We achieved one of our goals is getting that number one seed, but that's only a title. It's not a title that will last if you lose in the upcoming week. So we got to stay hungry, stay motivated, and keep our work schedule the way we always have.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Sam Schutte and his Northern Cambria Colts getting the job done at Portage last night. Ward, as you said, not an easy place to play, and they went up there and they took it to them right from the start.
It's a fun place to win, though, isn't it? And boy, the food. Oh, my goodness. From 30 to 30, there's trays of food.
And we didn't go last night.
Were you guys on the new side, or did they put you in the old booth?
They put us over in the old side.
That's what they did. So you got away from the food.
Yeah. Well, we understand. We're just little peons from the other conference. 8:28 in the morning. They do a great job at Portage. They really, really love their football.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It is the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program. We've got a lot of games to cover today. We'll be back with another one, the Homer Center Wildcats in Windber. That's next.
SUV season is in full swing at Luther Ford, and if you're in the market for an SUV or America's top-selling pickup, listen up, because just released,
always unstoppable, the Ford F-150. And with the fall season upon us, and I dare to say winter not far behind, check out the full lineup of F-150s at Luther Ford, Indiana County's truck headquarters for over 60 years.
The F-150 is the Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and right now, just announced, get 0.9% APR for 60 months, plus, in addition, get $2,800 bonus cash and an additional $500 Ford credit bonus cash.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for red carpet lease or Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
See the huge selection of F-150s and the complete lineup of SUVs during SUV season, going on now at Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
And remember, shop 24/7 at LutherFord.com.
This is Jim Struzzi, candidate to be your next state representative. I'm running because leadership matters, because experience matters, and above all, because integrity matters. I have been a dedicated public servant for more than 2 decades, and I will be ready to go on day one to address the key issues facing our communities, like the elimination of school property taxes, ending the opioid crisis, improving our education system, helping senior citizens and families, growing businesses and jobs, strengthening infrastructure, and putting more money in your wallet. Please give me, Jim Struzzi, your vote on Tuesday, November 6th. Paid for by the Friends of Jim Struzzi.
The Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450, WDAD 100.3 FM. Online, the sports channel. You can get it directly at WDADradio.com. Ward Hilliard, you went to Windber last night. You're going back tonight.
Yes, we are. And, they built a beautiful field, first off. These turf fields are great.
Really
and with the kind of weather that they had, which they had everywhere, but it helped. Certainly helped. The field would have been all chewed up, but wasn't there. And Homer, once they got going, they're just pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah. Appalachian Bowl tonight. Last night, the Homer Center Wildcats in the crossover game as they take on the Windber Ramblers, who come into the football game with an unusual style, and it's not enough. As Homer Center, again, a Heritage Conference team just taking it to a Westpac team. Here's Mark Burdig's recap.
Homer Center hadn't met Windber since the 2001 season. At Windber Stadium, it was a Ramblers 21-6 playoff victory. The Wildcats are hoping that tonight was a playoff springboard for them as they defeated Windber by a score of 35-15. Let's get to the radio replays. Homer Center scoring on their second possession after Windber got a very short punt and a nice 22-yard return from Logan Williams. The Wildcats started in Windber territory at the 30. 5 plays later, they were in the end zone, and often injured fullback Garrett Mock had to feel good for him, his first touchdown of the season. First and goal, they give it to Mock off the left side, untouched into the end zone, and that has to feel good for the oft-injured senior, his first touchdown of the season. And the Wildcats draw first blood, set up by Williams, punt return, 30-yard touchdown drive capped off by Garrett Mock. Good for Garrett. It's 6-0 Homer Center. 7-0 after Ben Schmidt's extra point, 4:50 mark of the first. Late in the second quarter, Wildcats started at their own 29-yard line, got a 24-yard run from Ben Schmidt to Windber's 44-yard line, and then Ben Schmidt went over 1,000 yards passing for the second year in a row as the sophomore continued to impress. A 24-yard hookup to Kobe Doherty took the football to the 4-yard line. Wildcats went backwards on 2 plays to the 7, but on third down and goal, Schmidt found a favorite target. Or third and goal from the 7. Single setback, but Schmidt's going to pass. Throws a fade pattern to Kobe Doherty. Touchdown! Homer Center in the left corner of the end zone. And the Wildcats lead 13-0 on third down and goal from the 7. Schmidt tosses his 9th touchdown pass of the season. 2:26 mark. It was 14-0 after Schmidt's second extra point. But Windber bounced right back, starting at their own 37-yard line, and it was a penalty-aided drive, a 5-yard face mask penalty, 2 pass interference penalties. Just like that, Windber was down to the Wildcats' 7-yard line. And they're going to direct snap it, and it is Leighton, and Leighton off the right side into the end zone for a touchdown with 18 seconds left in the half. The Wildcats helped Windber big time on that drive, and Windber Bassett Leighton put the finishing touches on it. His 16th rushing touchdown of the season, and it's 14-6. Kuster's kick made it 14-7, only 18 seconds left, but the Wildcats made things interesting. A 47-yard pass. Kobe Doherty weaving through some traffic all the way down to the 10-yard line. The clock started late, but when they sorted things out, they said the half was over. And according to our Michael Burdig, who checked it, he said that play exceeded the 11.6 seconds that was left on the clock, so the officials got it right. We were 14-7 at the break. Wildcats got the ball to start the second half, and they went on a 62-play old-fashioned Wildcat drive, much of it on the ground, the heavy lifting being done by Logan Williams. He had an 18-yard run that took the football into Windber territory to the 38-yard line, but the Cats were eventually faced with third and goal from the 3. split backs, quarterback keeper, and Schmidt bounces it outside. It was clogged up the middle, and Schmidt takes it into the end zone for a touchdown for Homer Center, his 6th rushing touchdown of the season, and Homer Center leads 20-7 over the Windber Ramblers, and they drive 62 yards, and they convert on 3rd and goal. Ben Schmidt. And Ben Schmidt added the extra point, 21-7 with 8.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Stayed that way to the 4th. We had a bunch of 3-and-outs both ways, and the Wildcats had a fumble, too, on one of their possessions. But the 4th quarter, they opened it up first play starting at the 49-yard line of the Wildcats. And back-to-back plays, they were in the end zone, and it sounded like this. And Schmidt takes the direct snap, and he wants to keep it. Comes near side into Windber territory. Goes Ben. He runs over a would-be tackler. Breaks another one at the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. The Jersey tackle him down at the 3-yard line. 48-yard run from Ben Schmidt, and it was a doozy. Tackled by Tommy Hannock. That was some power from the sophomore. 1st and goal from the 3, and the handoff to Williams. Williams ducks one tackler. Did he get to the goal line? He did. Touchdown, Logan Williams. His first of the night, but his 14th rushing touchdown of the season, and the Wildcats had busted it open. It's 27-7 with 11:27 left in the football game. Schmidt's extra kick was blocked, but Wildcats in complete control, 27-7. Logan Williams exited the football game at that point. Entered Deshaun Robinson, first carries since the season opener against Ligonier Valley, and tonight he made them pay, including his first touchdown of the year for the sophomore. And the give to Robinson, who busts it. He's going to take it to the house. 29 yards for a touchdown, his first of the season, obviously, based on what we were just talking about. It was his first carries since opening week, and he says, I'm going to take this one to the end zone, and he does, to make it 33-7. Deshaun Robinson from 29 yards out with 7:19 left in the football game. Windber closed out the scoring on a 9-yard touchdown run from Chase Bassett. The 2-point conversion added by Landon Geip against a junior varsity defense set the final at 35-15 as Homer Center closes out a 6-4 regular season. They will now host a playoff game next weekend against an opponent to be determined.
That's Mark Burdig with his wrap from last night's game for the Homer Center Wildcats, their victory over the Windber Ramblers, and our interview with Greg Page, the Wildcats coach, brought to you by Forged Human Performance Center and by Albas of Homer City.
In sports, athletes are looking for that competitive advantage. So where do you find it? At Forged Human Performance Center. Forged Human Performance Center is the area's premier source for sports performance training. Train with an experienced and certified strength and conditioning coach to help improve athletic skills like speed, agility, quickness, and strength while reducing the likelihood of injury. Sports performance training at Forged Human Performance Center. Conveniently located on Route 119 in Homer City, or go online at forgedhpc.com.
Head coach Greg Page joining us on our postgame show, brought to you by Alexander Roloff Services. Coach, you rolled tonight for the most part, maybe a little harder than the scoreboard looked at the end, 35-15, size up this 6th victory.
I'm just really happy for our kids and our staff. We came out in the second half with a whole lot of purpose. We weren't happy with them at halftime, giving up the score late in the half, which was a credit to Windber, but we helped them with a few penalties that were needless, really, if you just... if you're, trying to play your position and read your keys. But nonetheless, those guys bounced back on defense and just shut the door, and then we were able to get the ball moving offensively. And I was really pleased with how we came out at the beginning of the second half.
It's okay to embarrass both Ward and I, but we were wondering if we just didn't notice it all season long. 2 things. Number one, this is not what I'm talking about, but we saw Deshaun Robinson trots off. We thought he was healthy, and then not too long later, T.J. Tagliotti trots out of the game. He looked to be healthy. Were those messages being sent, or what was the deal?
Maybe. I mean, you're not going to be embarrassed. It's just one of those things where, you pull a guy out for a little bit, maybe shake him up. Tags, how Tags is one hell of a football player, but I thought maybe he was, he needed to get a little kick in the behind, and Deshaun sometimes with that inside linebacker position, that's not his ideal spot, but in certain packages defensively, he's got to go there. But he's come a long way, and I love the way he ran the ball on our last touchdown drive. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of carries either, and he just really found some seams, and the guys up front did a nice job.
Doesn't get a lot of carries? You mean like as in his first carry since opening week?
I don't know. You guys keep track of that stuff. I don't, because I always tell them, I'll apologize to guys sometimes, say, sorry I didn't get you the ball more, but I'm focused on crossing that line down there from the 10 to the goal to the end zone.
Well, hey, here's the thing that I wanted to know if we just never noticed. Has TJ Tagg's been on the kickoff coverage team all season long?
You like it, don't you?
I liked it.
I love it. It actually happened by accident Wednesday. I told you it was one of those weeks where we had guys in and out with injury, illness, and whatever. And so you're looking for guys from, on the scout kickoff team, and he goes, Coach, come on, can I go in? I said, yeah, but don't hurt anybody. So, he went down, and he hit a couple guys hard, like guys that were blocking him. He didn't take anybody out, and we thought, what the hell? Put him on there, and, he went down. He got down there faster than a lot of the guys, and he's not very fast.
He did look very good, and I thought he played an inspired second half, too.
Absolutely.
Wake-up call or not. But, hey, they get on the board. I know you probably weren't happy with that right before the half, although you did take care of business to open the second half.
We did. And, we struggle with that sometimes, but we went back to a set that we worked on this week with Zeiler and Williams, and they both did a nice job. Guys up front were making good reads, because I give Windber's defense credit. I mean, they're playing a kind of a tight 5-2. It reminded me of what Blairsville was trying to do to us a couple weeks ago, where they weren't giving you a lot off tackle, and they were, they had some good guys inside too that were quick. 33 in particular was a quick football player on defense, and so I thought our pulling guards made good reads, and I thought our backs made good reads. Zeiler was a big boost tonight.
Yeah, he too.
And so was Garrett Mock. Mock ran
good
hard.
To see him get his first touchdown.
Absolutely, yes.
And Zeiler's 32 yards rushing tonight. By the way, Williams 98 yards rushing. Ben Schmidt 99. I thought Ben handled adverse conditions. Granted turf, but it's still the football's the same. It's still wet, and I thought he handled it for the most part. Did a good job in all areas.
I think he did too. I think he made some great throws tonight. We had a couple drops. It's not characteristic of our guys, but he was putting the ball where it had to be. Early on, I know he got skittish on one or two pass plays early on, but he really rebounded. And what a great run he made down here. I don't know if that was our third or fourth touchdown.
He ran through and over a couple. He's not afraid to impose his will.
No, not at all.
Coach, just so you know, late in the half you had that 47-yard pass play to Kobe Doherty where a little clock malfunction up in the booth here. They didn't start the clock on time. And there were 11.6 seconds remaining when the play started. Our Michael Burdig actually double-checked it based on the radio replay, and the play took about 14 seconds, so they did get it right.
Yeah, and I was mad at first. I mean, Greg Hoover, who's a good ref, came over, and so I thought he was going to say, hey, we don't really know how much time's left, so we're going to put like X number of seconds and you'll get one more play. We came over, and I guess the guy did what he's supposed to do. The one back judge said he timed it on his watch, and it was 11. I said, are you kidding me? He said, hey, listen, don't get mad at us. We didn't screw up.
Yeah.
And he's right. He's right. So at that point, I accepted it. I didn't, after he told me that, I said, you know what?
And
not going to change. Not going to change.
Based on the check from Michael at the studio, I think they did get it right. So, hey, let's just move ahead. You're going to have a home playoff game. Not sure of whether it'll be Friday or Saturday night. The one score we need to know to kind of determine that, unless you know, is the Everett and Claysburg-Kimmel score.
I don't know. We'd have to check when we get in the bus, maybe with our phones. I'm not sure.
But a big night for the Heritage Conference. They swept their way through the Westpac this evening. Any reaction to that? I know you're just happy you're part of the sweep.
Yeah, I'm happy first. Well, number one, yeah, we got our win. And number two, I'm happy for those guys. I mean, it says a lot for our conference. I think it was really, Ligonier was head and shoulders above everybody else, no question. Northern Cambria was a good, strong second-place team. And then from there, you saw the standings. It was kind of, mushed together. And so I'm happy for all those guys. It's teams that get good wins heading into Week 11.
Well, if Claysburg wins, and that's not a given over a 6-3 Everett team, you would, in all likelihood, stay in the 7th spot, which would mean, what did you say, a Saturday night home game?
I would think so, yes.
Okay, and if Claysburg lost, you could be bumped up to the 6th spot, which would mean a Friday home game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it whichever way it goes. I think that either way, I would like to get a look at the possible next opponent Well, you know what? Maybe we won't, because we'd be playing a number 1 through 4 seed, I guess, if we won. So it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, Friday's a normal routine, but I think you know too. We've been successful on Saturday night home games too, so we'll take whatever comes.
Friday night lights or Saturday night lights? Here on a rainy night in Windber, a 35-15 victory. Congratulations.
Thank you guys very much.
Head coach Greg Page joining us on our post-game report.
Alba's in downtown Homer City is proud to support Homer Center Athletics. Join your family and friends at Alba's and listen to all the Wildcats games this season. And while there, enjoy their great lunch and dinner specials and the coldest drinks in town. Alba's is a family-friendly restaurant. Everyone at Alba's wishes Coach Page and the Wildcats the best this season. Alba's is open for lunch Tuesday through Sunday. Their food is the talk of the town, and so are the Wildcats. Alba's, 221 South Main Street in Homer City.
There's a lot to like about the 2018 Ford Focus at Luther Ford in Homer City.
As a matter of fact, what's not to like?
Safety's important, and the Ford Focus is ahead of the class with 5-star IIHS safety ratings.
If prices are killing you at the pump, you'll also like 34 MPG Highway.
And if affordability's an issue, Luther Ford has you covered there as well.
Just announced, get 0% APR for 60 months, plus you'll receive $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash.
And if you like leasing, you'll love this. Lease a 2018 Ford Focus SE for only $169 a month for 36 months with just $19.29 cash due at signing.
You heard right. $169 a month for 36 months with only $19.29 due at signing.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
For all offers, take new retail delivery from Luther Ford by January 2nd.
Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
Open late till 8, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
And open 24/7 at LutherFord.com.
With interventional cardiology, services that previously had to be done in Pittsburgh now are available at the Indiana Regional Medical Center's Center for Cardiac and Vascular Care. From heart catheterizations to balloon angioplasties and stents, the Center for Cardiac and Vascular Care is saving lives. Here's Dr. Raj Pillai.
This changes the community, and this changes the hospital. This is about the patients and the community we serve.
The Center for Cardiac and Vascular Care at the Indiana Regional Medical Center. Always great care. It is the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDID 100.3 FM, online the sports channel. And that's at WDIDradio.com. All right, Ward, at the end of that interview with Greg Page, Mark Burdick and Greg were speculating about the District 6 playoffs, not knowing the results of other games in other leagues.
And it takes some mathematical abilities there to figure them out, because you got to roll in wins on, and teams are winning last night, so those are additional points. But you're the whiz that you are, has already computed that out.
Actually, I'm relying upon others for this. As it looks right now, the Purchase Line Red Dragons, with a win today, would vault over Blacklick Valley. The way I have it, they'll get 40 extra points because they beat Salzburg.
Right.
They'll get 20 extra points because they beat Blairsville. They'll get 10 because they beat Ferndale. With the 100 points, if they get that win over Ferndale today, that would be 170 points. Added to their total would give them 410 points. Blacklick Valley, having lost last night, well, they have 370. And that would put Purchase Line into the playoffs. So the Red Dragons getting on the bus here pretty soon and heading down to Ferndale to play the Ferndale Yellow Jackets. Have a lot at stake tonight. They could get into the playoffs, and if they do, they'd earn a rematch against the United Lions.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing they would like better. They've kind of struggled early on this season, but they've got it turned around a little bit. They're playing pretty well. They don't want to mess up today now. It's going to be a muddy track there at Ferndale, but they ought to be. That's their game, though. They can run the ball. They ought to be all right.
If we are right, and there's no saying we are, because we're not the gurus of this. The meeting is actually going to be tomorrow, the District 6 meeting. But if we are right, it will be either Purchase Line or Blacklick Valley at United on Friday, and it would put Bishop McCourt at Homer Center on Friday. And on Saturday, Conemaugh Valley would play at Claysburg Kimmel, and Salzburg would play at Penns Manor. There's another AA scenario that plays out today. Marion Center, with a win over Conemaugh Valley, would jump over Cambria Heights, and they would get into the playoffs. and they get one of the Rams, Richland or Ligonier Valley.
Yeah, they'd have their hands
Good luck on that. But the Stingers would love to make it into the District 6 playoffs. The ball is on their racket, as we say. If they hold serve against Conemaugh Valley, then they are in. Oh, no. Mark Burdig is into the studio.
He's supposed to be walking. There he's walking in here.
I already set a record time.
Yeah.
Oh, is it soaked over there?
Yeah.
Or isn't it soaked?
All right, so was I right?
I was going to say not so fast.
Okay.
On this purchase line thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I think on the PowerPoints that you were referring to, purchase line would only get 10 for Blairsville winning because you don't go back. It's
that's
for that.
True. That's true.
For that particular week.
That's true. So they get 30 extra.
So I don't know if that impacts what you're saying, but you had mentioned that they'd get 20 points with Blairsville's win when indeed they would get 10.
130.
So I don't know what that minus 10 does to what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
does that impact?
What'd you say about Blairsville?
You had mentioned on PowerPoint.
Yeah, they get 10, 10, and 10. They get 30 extra points.
Yeah, you said on the air 20 for Blairsville. Okay.
Yeah, so that would make them a tie with Blacklick Valley, and then you have to figure what's the tiebreaker. It's probably points for and points against on this season.
Who knows?
Well,
it's like
District
the weather.
6
What
actually,
a mess.
They do calculate it. But Purchase Line and Blacklick Valley, if Purchase Line wins, they'd be tied. You're right, at 370 points
That's
apiece.
what I was looking at.
And
I
then
was
you'd
doing.
probably look at point differential, so they would have to maybe try to run it up against Ferndale this afternoon. I don't know what that tiebreaker is.
Well, I think we all agree that the bottom part of the bracket, when you're talking about sub 500 teams getting into the playoffs, and I know it happens in the WPIAL and everywhere else, but I think it needs revisited.
Yeah, it does.
But for this year, again, it is what it is. So it'd be nice to have Purchase Line in there, and they're a young football team, so you look at it that way, Todd. I mentioned that to Matt Felisic over at the Appalachian Luncheon. Hey, you got to win last week. You get one this week. You take some momentum into the off season. Now, if you get an extra week of practice and a playoff game, that's even better yet.
Absolutely, absolutely. We should tell folks why Mark said he was over at the walk. What is the walk, Mark? It's the Trick or Trot 5K to benefit the Teddy Bear Fund Drive.
Indiana Senior High School Student Government Association. My nephew, as you know, does a fantastic job with the Teddy Bear Fund Drive at Indiana High School, and this has been an annual event. Weather not ideal, but the track is laid out. It will go on. Registration is going to start here in just a few minutes. They already have a nice contingent if they all show up in this weather.
Yeah.
As we like to say, the money's in the bank. But we still encourage them to come out. But you can be a late registrant, and some people like these conditions. I'm not one of them.
Who?
I heard a runner last week, so I like running in the rain at the Love of Life 5K. The rain and cool's the best conditions. I thought, well, you can have it. But it all benefits the Teddy Bear Fund Drive. It's at Mack Park. Up in the pavilion. You can register between 9 and 10, and the race will get underway at 10 o'clock. Come on out and support us. A lot of students. I just came from there, Todd. It's amazing the work they're doing. And we really appreciate it.
We do. They work so hard to make this a great event, and they have done so. All right, so having all those scenarios, and I apologize, you're right, I added some extra points in there. Ferndale and Purchase Line this afternoon, and the Red Dragons win. Matt Felisic was of the opinion that they would get in if they would win, and everybody else lost that they needed to lose, which everybody did. So let's talk with the coach of the Red Dragons, Matt Felisic, and our interview with him is brought to you by Nelson & Associates Insurance.
Game plans, how important they are in the world of sports. Coming up with the right strategy to ensure success. Who's on your team to help you reach your goals in life and protect your assets? Jack Nelson of Nelson Insurance can develop the right insurance game plan for you. Nelson Insurance is an independent agent representing Erie Insurance and other fine companies. Call Nelson Insurance for a review of your financial game plan. Nelson Insurance, Franklin Street Clymer, 724-254-9276.
And here in the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, Matt Felisic and the Purchase Line Red Dragons. One more mile to go, Coach, and it happens this afternoon against the Ferndale Yellow Jackets. What's it been like this week for you?
It's been nice. Good work week. Obviously the week after a win's always a good week, and we had the Appalachian Bowl luncheon Wednesday. But the kids have been pretty focused. They're excited. Always after a win, the kids are a little looser than what they normally would be, but we'll get them honed back in here Thursday and Friday and get ready to go on Saturday.
Hey, Coach, let's talk a little bit about how this season has gone for your team. So many games where you probably went into them thinking, we've got a real shot at this ball game, but then you're not quite sure which of your teams is going to show up. Sometimes, getting the kids focused is a difficult thing, and sometimes you just run into a team that's in the middle of a hot streak, and it's a buzzsaw, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we tell the kids every week, especially, after the Salzburg, how well we played and put up so many points. Offensively, we were, looked unstoppable at times. Defensively, we played great. But, talking to the coaches, the first 4 games of the year, I don't think Josh made it past halftime with cramps. And, the Homer City game, it got to the point where we had their running backs left to run the ball. I mean, there's just lots of different things that add up to it. But, I don't think we're a 2-17, but that's where we are. And, we got to go to Ferndale and try to get that 3rd win.
All right, and that happens this afternoon. So tell me about Ferndale, what you've seen from them on film, and if watching them on film is even a valuable exercise.
Well, as I was telling you earlier there, the one film we got, Ferndale versus Shays, that doesn't give us much of a look because Shays normally 5 wide, but at least you still get to see them on film and see their offense. But they have a couple skilled guys that can run the ball really well, a couple guys up front that are nice size, and they push people around on the line of scrimmage. So I think we're going to have a good battle today.
Yeah, one of the things about Ferndale as well is they've got kids back from last year and a team that went into the playoffs. So they know about playing late season football, and they know about these crossover games.
Yeah, last year they had a great run. They beat Penns Manor in a playoff game, and then they also beat Portage, and then they gave Homer City all they could handle. So they know what it takes to win football games down there.
Yeah, they do. All right, so what can you do against them this afternoon, do you think, defensively?
I think defensively we're going to stick to what we did last week in Salzburg, and I hope that they try to run right at us because I think we can shut them down if they try to do that and bring some pressure when they try to pass. They got a real good athlete, a quarterback, and we'd like to get some pressure on him, just like we did with Gibbons last week. So that's the plan going into this week.
Yeah, Josh Gibbons can prepare a team for a mobile quarterback, can't he?
Oh yeah, he's one of the best, and we did a great job last week of keeping him in the pocket and putting pressure on him, and we had 8 sacks, but he's definitely a great athlete, and it gets us definitely ready for this week.
And that's kind of an interesting comment because contain is so important from your defensive ends, and if you're sending a linebacker, but then you've got to have guys that in the middle of that line, if you're going to force him to stay in that pocket and then step up into it, the middle of your defensive line has to be pretty solid as well.
Yeah, last week the way we were rushing is, our DNs aren't quickest, and we just told them keep him in the pocket, and we're bringing Colin and Cameron right up the middle to put pressure on. They did a great job, and once we get them moving a little bit, our D linemen get off their blocks and get in on the fun. But yeah, I mean it takes all 5 of those guys and the one we're bringing up the middle. So it took all 6, and we look for those guys to do the same thing this week.
Offensively, going to try to punch it out at him, Coach. I know that you've found a little bit of extra out of Jacob at quarterback as a runner.
Yeah, running the option this year, we're getting a little bit better at it as the year goes on. That was a late addition to the offense. But all those guys, I know their field was pretty rough last weekend, and it was supposed to rain today, so probably is raining right now. But we've got to be able to run right at them. We got Josh, Colin, Jacob Barnett, Yoder. All those guys can run, and hopefully our line gels like they did last week against Salzburg. But yeah, we want to go right at them and hit a couple counters, hit a couple passes when we have to. But we rely on those guys heavily.
We'll be watching for the result of that one. Coach, if I don't get a chance to talk to you again, I want to thank you for being with us all season long on the Coach's Corner program.
Thanks, Todd. You guys do a great job in there and help promote high school football, and thank you very much.
Celebrating its 50th season, this is the Luther Ford Lincoln Coach's Corner.
Indeed it is, on AM 1450 WDAD Indiana, 100.3 FM, also online on the sports channel, directly linked at WDADradio.com. The Trib Live High School Sports Network also has that direct link. You can listen on your computer this morning. Let's get to the scoreboard as we begin the second hour this morning of the Luther Ford Coach's Corner program. Last night, the Heritage Westpac crossover games, and the Northern Cambria Colts defeating Portage 34-8. Penns Manor A 22-14 win over Berlin Brothers Valley. It was Blairsville 40, North Star 6, Salzburg 15, Blacklick Valley 7. West Shamokin a 28-0 win over Myersdale. Homer Center beats Winburn 35-15, and United 36, Conemaugh Township 14. The Heritage Conference teams sweeping the Westpac so far in this Westpac crossover weekend. Today, Marion Center's at Conemaugh Valley, Purchase Line at Ferndale, both of those games with possible playoff implications. And tonight, the Appalachian Bowl at Winburn Stadium, Ligonier Valley at Shade. You'll hear that game on Cat Country 106.3 FM. In fact, a doubleheader today on Cat Country. In the early afternoon, Marion Center at Conemaugh Valley. That's at 12:45 airtime. And then the Appalachian Bowl tonight with Mark Burdig and Ward Hilliard. And I don't know, Ward, what's the airtime on that? 6 o'clock?
We'll be on at 6, yeah. We'll have an hour pregame, and then, of course, the main feature.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be a wide-open game. The rain may have something to say about that, though.
District 6 games, Bellwood Ennis beat Southern Huntington 42-20. That's a game we probably should pay a little bit more attention to. That's a big victory for them over a pretty tough team. Clearfield with a 49-0 win over Bishop Carroll. Bishop Guilfoyle beats Bishop McCourt 28-13. Everett 12, Claysburg Kimmel 6. Forest Hill is a 16-12 win over Penn Cambria. Penns Valley beats Phillipsburg Osceola 56-7. Somerset 37, Central Cambria 2. Mount Union gets its second in a row, 21-0 or 21-6 I should say, over winless Williamsburg. Richland took a gamble last night with the quarterback situation. They wanted a mutter. They needed a tough mutter runner, so they put in a freshman quarterback.
Freshman mutter, yeah.
How about that? And they once beaten Chestnut Ridge, once beaten to that point, 24-20. Northern Bedford 20, Glendale 7. Tussey Mountain 42-7 over Moe Valley. Juniata Valley beats West Branch 40-0. Looks like Juniata Valley will be number 2 in District 6A. Westmont Hilltop 42, Cambria Heights 21 last night. Other games, Indiana had a chance to make it to the district playoffs, the WPIAL, but they fell to Greensburg-Salem 17-0. Derry, 35-14 victory over Burrell. The Trojans are strong at 9-1. Punxsutawney fell to Red Bank Valley 54-27. Armstrong with the 24-21 win over Kiski area. And it is the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program. Good morning to you. We begin our second hour here. We've still got a lot of ground to cover. And we got a text from a couple of folks who have said Mark Burdig was right. Too many teams in the playoffs. If you've got a team that is 3-7 heading into the playoffs, that's probably not the best scenario.
Well, when they went to 6 classifications, that was my first complaint.
Mine
I said,
too.
You're thinning them out. It's really not as significant as it used to be. I think it's a reward. The playoffs are a reward, I think. And, when you have these records of the 3 wins, you don't get a reward for that. You need to have a better season in order to merit getting in the playoffs. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, I just think it kind of watered it down, and that's what you got. So you play it out.
All right, let's get to our second hour as we begin once more with some of the games from the Heritage Conference crossovers last night with the Westpac and the Salzburg Trojans are solidly in the playoffs in a surprisingly defensive-themed game. Salzburg comes away with a 15-7 win over Blacklick Valley. And again, last night all across western PA, really, the rain played a role in this. The fields are just mud bogs. If you don't have an artificial turf field, you're probably going to have to change your game plan.
It's a rainy night in Georgia here. It's a rainy night in western PA. And
Salzburg's Josh Gibbons punches one in from 2 yards out with 27 seconds left in the second quarter. The Trojans make it stand up for the win. Now, Salzburg opened the scoring in the first quarter, a 9-yard touchdown pass from Gibbons to Nathan Slapinski, but the Vikings tied it at 7 midway through the second quarter, a 15-yard TD pass from Corey Simmons to Dominic DiPaolo. After taking the lead in the second half, the game turned into a defensive ball control type of game, and that's not really Salzburg's game.
No.
But they did it last night.
Hey, and 4 wins. What a season for them. It's been rock and roll, but they've played well.
Dylan Cindric runs for 115 yards. Gibbons uses the passing game. And, Salzburg can use the passing game just like a run game with the short passes. They like to hit the running back out of the backfield. They bring other guys underneath. Teams pay attention to that, and that's why Nathan Slapinski is able to get open on the outside. He catches 9 balls for 98 yards. Gibbons on the night, A 10 of 14 performance for 139 yards. And you look at that and you say, not very special. But it really was in those conditions, and he did what he was asked to do.
Keeps drives alive, and he's a great athlete. No two ways about that.
Salzburg wins at 15-7. They have a couple of different playoff possibilities. Let's get to the coach. Mike Lazier and his Salzburg Trojans get another win. Coach, 15-7. You're solidly in the playoffs. You knew that already coming in, and now you just got to figure out who you're going to play. How about this game last night, Blacklick Valley and your Trojans, and it turned into a bit of a defensive match, huh?
Yeah, on paper, I mean, Blacklick Valley had, we saw them on film, and statistically, they are a very explosive offense. So it was good last night to get a good defensive performance. Our kids were physical last night. That's what we asked out of them this week, to play physical, and, finally they were able to do that to a team, be more physical than another football team. So that was great to see last night.
Well, was that a function of the line of scrimmage? I would assume it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We won the line of scrimmage last night, both offensively and defensively. And when you do that, good things are going to happen.
All right, so you get your first score. It's a pass from Josh to Nathan Slopinski for 9 yards. Nathan had a big night, didn't he?
Yeah, he had. Josh found him. We didn't throw the ball much with the conditions, but we had some timely passes when we needed it. Slopinski found an opening. I think he had 8 or 9 catches last night, close to 100 yards in that weather. He's a tough kid. He's a tough matchup for teams because he's in the slot. Linebackers have a tough time, covering him and finding him, but he was able to find some spots last night and Josh made some big throws, and it's good that we got the ball to him last night.
Yeah, we had him with 9 and 98. And then Dylan running the football last night for 115 yards. When the field conditions are bad and deteriorating rapidly, when it's raining and windy and cold like that, if you can control the football on the ground, you're going to do yourself a big favor.
Yeah, definitely. And I know the time of possession. I don't have the numbers exactly, but that second half, we just, we got into a running set and we went right at them, and, we controlled the clock for the most part. And then, like I said earlier, we hit some timely passes with, Gibbons hitting Slopinski on a few passes there to keep drives going. But, the weather dictated the way we played last night. And, it was good to see that, offensive line came through last night, and our running back, Cindric, had a big night. So I was happy to see that.
So you're tied 7-7. You're halfway through the second quarter, and you get the football, and eventually you drive it down to the 2-yard line. 27 seconds left in the quarter when Josh punches it in. Tell me about that drive.
That drive, we tried some spread stuff. It wasn't working, so we went back to our running game a little bit more, with the tight end set, and we moved the ball down, and then, we would get into 3rd and 4s, and then we'd have to throw the ball a little bit, and Josh made some timely passes on that drive. But down there at the, when we got down, we knew Josh was the guy to punch it in there, and he took it, and it was a very tough run. And then the 2-point conversion was even more fit. Dylan Cindric, he got out around the end and just made a great effort to get in the end zone and punch it in. And that really gave us some momentum going into the half. The kids were fired up when they got up to the locker room. So I think that drive kind of, set us up for the night we had.
Hey, Coach, this has been an incredible year with all kinds of different ramifications going on, and your ball club has hung in there the whole time. But one of the themes this morning is the fact that the Heritage Conference, I think some people were looking at the crossover games and saying, well, this year the Westpac's going to get them. It's not happening, is it?
No, our conference is pretty tough. I think that showed last night, and we'll see how it plays out today. But every week it's a battle. We found that out last week with Purchase Line when we went up there, and they took it to us, and they didn't have much success in the Heritage this year. So it was a battle every week, and our kids had some big wins this year. So I'm proud of our effort in a very tough conference.
So you're looking at either Penns Manor or Claysburg Kimmel next week. Claysburg lost last night to Ever 12-6, right? Penns Manor.
That's what we're thinking. Either Claysburg or Penns Manor. So we'll see where it falls out today, and we'll go from there and get ready.
Very good. You scouting anybody today? You're taking a day off?
Yeah, we'll start looking at some stuff, and we'll go from there. But we'll know definitely this afternoon about 4:00. So we'll have some game plans ready by this weekend. So it's just a matter of till it's finalized who we get, and then we'll go from there.
Trojans earn themselves another week of play. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There's Mike Lazier, the head coach of the Salzburg Trojans, with the win last night. The Trojans continue in our District 6 playoff scenario, and they've got a couple of different possibilities, one of them Penns Manor next week. But we'll have to see how the results of the games go today before we really have an idea of what's happening in the District 6 playoffs next week. It is the Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDAD, 100.3 FM. It's 9 minutes after 9 o'clock. Going to step away from the Heritage Westpac crossovers and look at Indiana High next.
SUV season's in full swing at Luther Ford, and Ford and Luther Ford have just released amazing deals on America's top-selling brand.
Always unstoppable Ford SUVs. And with the fall season upon us, and I dare say winter not far behind, now's the time to take delivery on a new Ford SUV.
Just announced during SUV season, get 0% APR for 60 months on a new 2018 Ford Escape, plus $2,000 in additional savings. Includes $500 Ford bonus cash, $500 Conquest cash, and $1,000 in additional Ford credit bonus cash.
You can also lease a 2018 Ford Escape SE four-wheel drive for just $219 a month for 36 months with $2,629 due at signing.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for red carpet lease or Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
See the Escape and the complete lineup of SUVs in Ford Tough Trucks during SUV season at Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
And remember, shop 24/7 at lutherford.com.
This is Jim Struzzi. I'm asking for your vote on November 6th to be your next state representative. I believe my proven skills, abilities, and experience can help people and solve the serious problems we face. My wife and I have 4 school-age children, and like you, we know what it means to pay a mortgage, property taxes, and bills while trying to make ends meet. I know your concerns and struggles and what it means to worry about your children and their future. I live the issues we face, and I will work hard as your state representative to make all of our lives better. Please give me, Jim Struzzi, your vote on November 6th. Paid for by the Friends of Jim Struzzi.
The Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDAD, 100.3 FM, online, the sports channel, WDADradio.com. 9:11, we're in the third quarter of action here, and Indiana High was in action last night with a chance at the WPIAL playoffs. Didn't go the Indians' way. Here's Jack Benedict.
Season came to a close for Indiana at Andy Kosneski Field on a rainy senior night as Greensburg wins the game and qualifies to the WPIAL playoffs. The final score was 17-0. Greensburg scored on a 77-yard drive on a 49-yard run from scrimmage by Aaron Putt, and the extra point by Raymer made it 7-0. Indiana was driving. They trailed 7-0 at the half and in the third quarter, but they coughed it up around the 15-yard line, and Greensburg recovered the ball. In the fourth quarter, on their first drive after an Indiana punt, Greensburg got a big pass play, 28 yards from Trent Patrick to Ryan Thomas, and then they added a 30-yard field goal by Raymer, 10-0, and they added one on for good measure with 1:40 to go as the quarterback, Patrick, ran 15 yards for the score. So Greensburg goes to the WPIAL playoffs. Indiana ends the season. They were close, but not close enough, 3-7. Jack Benedict reporting for your hometown radio station.
All right, Jack, thanks so much. Our interview with Brandon Overdorf, the head coach of the Little Indians, brought to you by Grand Beginnings Children's Center and by Forged Human Performance Center.
Grand Beginnings Children's Center would like to announce they are enrolling children at both of their locations, South Bend Franklin Road and Grandview Avenue in Indiana. Grand Beginnings Children's Center accepts children from birth through 5th grade. Grand Beginnings Children's Center is a Keystone Star 4 center, the highest ranking among Keystone Star facilities. And they have a PA Pre-K Counts classroom. They're open Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Visit grandbeginnings.net or schedule an appointment to find out more.
Thank you for all your help this year. I know it's a very disappointing game for you tonight. What did you tell your team?
Well, it is heartbreaking. First of all, I just want to thank the community and the school district. We had a great atmosphere here tonight, student body, despite the weather, and thank them for coming out. We played a really good football game in the first half other than the penalties, and we'd make a big play, and we'd get a flag, and we had to play behind the chains too much, not only in the first half but in the second half. And then we put a nice drive together, down 7-0 in the second half, and we fumbled the ball inside the 10-yard line. And that's the difference in the game. They made big plays. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't get penalized like we did. They played the cleaner game, and they're off to the playoffs.
Very disappointing about the turnovers. It looked like you guys were going to go in and tie it up, and I'm not sure what happened on the McElravy fumble, but just kind of took the air out of your sails tonight, didn't it?
Well, the penalties, too, in the first half. We put together some really nice drives, and I don't want to put it on one play because we had multiple drives where we drove the ball down the football field, was controlling the line of scrimmage, and just didn't finish and get any points. And you got to score in order to win. And then, the fumble hurt. I mean, we're inside the 10. It looks like we're going to get them maybe down to the 5-yard line. The ball, I didn't see what happened. I just saw the ball bouncing. And unfortunately, another drive stalled. And, they're a pretty good football team. Coach Kiefer does a nice job with them. They're really talented. And I thought our defense really stepped up other than a couple plays. And it's disappointing because, it was right there. We were right there, but you just got to finish drives and take care of the football, and we didn't do that tonight.
You think the kids were nervous at all thinking about the playoffs?
I don't think so. I think we were pretty well ready to play. It's just sometimes things just don't bounce your way, and tonight wasn't our night. Like I said, we ripped off some big plays that we had momentum, and then we get a 10-yard holding penalty or whatever, block in the back. I can't tell you how many big plays we made where penalties were thrown, and that didn't happen to them. And, just got to play a cleaner game than we did, and Greensburg-Salem made the plays, and we didn't.
It's been a tough first year, but I think you learned a lot about your program and about yourself and your coaching staff. How do you feel going forward?
Well, we're going to miss these 17 seniors that are leaving us. They're, a talented group. We've got a lot of work to do with the program. We've got to get an off-season program that's more locked in and more serious than it has been in the past. We're not strong enough. We're not fast enough. And if you're not those things, you can't play physical football like we want to play it with our schemes. So, we got to get right to work in the off-season. We're going to lose a lot of starters, so we're going to be very young next year. So there's a lot of work to do, and we knew that coming in. I thought we competed most of the year at a pretty high level for, the situation, and, we really didn't return any starters this year either. But our kids fought hard all year. I'm proud of them. We had a chance here. It's going to hurt for a little while, but I think when they look back, I think they competed with heart, and that's really all you can ask.
There's Brandon Overdorf, the head coach of the Indiana High Little Indians, and our interview brought to you by the Grand Beginnings Children's Center and by Forged Human Performance Center.
In sports, athletes are looking for that competitive advantage. So where do you find it? At Forged Human Performance Center. Forged Human Performance Center is the area's premier source for sports performance training. Train with an experienced and certified strength and conditioning coach to help improve athletic skills like speed, agility, quickness, and strength while reducing the likelihood of injury. Sports performance training at Forged Human Performance Center. Conveniently located on Route 119 in Homer City, or go online at forgedhpc.com.
SUV season is in full swing at Luther Ford, and if you're in the market for an SUV or America's top-selling pickup, listen up, because just released,
always unstoppable, the Ford F-150. And with the fall season upon us, and I dare to say winter not far behind, check out the full lineup of F-150s at Luther Ford, Indiana County's truck headquarters for over 60 years.
The F-150 is the Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and right now, just announced, get 0.9% APR for 60 months, plus, in addition, get $2,800 bonus cash and an additional $500 Ford credit bonus cash.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for red carpet lease or Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
See the huge selection of F-150s and the complete lineup of SUVs during SUV season, going on now at Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
And remember, shop 24/7 at lutherford.com.
The Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDID, 100.3 FM. You can listen online on your computer. Just go to WDIDradio.com for the sports channel. We're back to the Heritage crossover games from last night. The Heritage Conference 7-0 last night. Just fantastic football all night long from our local teams, Ward.
Yeah, it's really encouraging to see them play as well as they did. It was that kind of a year. We felt that beyond Ligonier Valley, it was a crapshoot. Whoever you played each week, you could beat, and that's the way it played out here.
Absolutely. So let's get to one of those teams that had a disappointing season, but a good end to it. Chuck Clark tells us about Blairsville and North Star.
Blairsville finished the season with a win at North Star 40-6. Freshman running back Sincere McFarland scored 3 touchdowns and ran for over 200 yards as the Bobcats jumped out to a quick 6-0 lead thanks to a Josh Coaches 15-yard touchdown pass from Devin Burkhart. Isaac Whitmer, an 86-yard touchdown catch and run on a pass from Burkhart. At that point, the Bobcats had a 26-6 lead with 9:18 left in the first half. In the third period, McFarland scored from 15 yards out to give the Bobcats a 34-6 lead. And Sincere McFarland added another touchdown with 11:55 to play in the game, this time a 6-yard run, capping off a 44-yard scoring drive, and the Bobcats had a 40-6 lead. Now, with the win, the Bobcats wrap up the season at 2-8, while North Star fell to 0-10. It was Blairsville winning at North Star by the final score of 40-6. Chuck Clark for your hometown radio station.
And after the game, Chuck Clark catches up with Rick Artley, the Bobcats head coach.
Bobcat head coach Rick Artley. Coach, I know you've been waiting all year long for a night like this.
Yeah, you know, coming into this game, we knew the facility, the field was going to be a tough one to play on, but honestly, we did a great job of taking care of the football tonight. I know we had a couple turnovers, but for the most part, we did a great job, and honestly, that's probably the game changer. We were able to create some turnovers early in the game, and once their tailback got hurt, we were up 20-7-6 at that point. So once he got hurt, I kind of felt like that was a possibility of the game, us finding a way to put it away, and that's what we were able to do.
Well, Sincere ran so well tonight, maybe you should water down your field every game.
Yeah, our offensive line won the line of scrimmage, and the defensive line, I mean, that's the way we won the line of scrimmage tonight is basically how we've lost it most of the season. So it was a good way to finish the year, but our guys have to understand the importance of getting into that weight room and getting the job done in this off season. There are a lot of guys coming back, but I was really happy for Sincere. I had said to John Smathers about the fact that the beatings he took this year behind that line at times, and never once was he ever slow getting up off the field. His ability to get up and take the hits he took, was a credit to his work ethic and his strength. He took a lot of shots for a freshman, but I was just very happy for him to finish off his freshman year with a big night like tonight.
Well, as well as your offense played, your defense, 6 fumble recoveries.
Yeah, they really struggled to handle the football, and like I said, their offense got real one-dimensional once that tailback got hurt, and they really didn't have a whole lot of other weapons tonight, so it was something key for us to make plays and do the things that we needed to do defensively. But again, it still came back down to the line of scrimmage, and we controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides, and that's what, those are the same scores of the games that we've been losing lately. So, I've said it all year, I've said it my entire career, everybody understands it in football. You win the line of scrimmage, you're probably going to win most of the games.
There haven't been many times this year that you've been up at halftime, but you were tonight.
Yeah, the only other time was at Salzburg when we got that win. So, it was fun tonight to get some scores early. And honestly, that game could have changed a little bit. We had 2 penalties in 2 drives, and one kept their drive alive. They got their score for a touchdown. to pull it to 20-6. But that next play after that, we had a bad return because they kicked it over top of our guys' heads, and it was probably I don't know how long the pass was, but it had to be close to 80 yards on the touchdown pass on the very first play of that next drive. And the ball was so bad. Actually, we had a run play called there, but I saw the ball looked good. We're coming off the sideline. It was one of our better, newer balls, so we checked it right on the line of scrimmage to a play action pass off of that, and we hit Josh for a touchdown. And then when we went up 27-6, he gets hurt right after that on that next drive, and that was the end of the game at that point, to be honest.
Now, what does this mean? The season's over now, but as you said, a lot of these athletes will be taking part in winter sports, and hopefully the rest will be in the weight room preparing for next year.
Yeah, and honestly, you got to be in the weight room regardless if you're in a winter sport or not, and that's what our guys will do. I know I have quite a few freshmen that'll be on my junior high basketball team that'll start their day before we even practice at all in basketball. They're going to be in a weight room for the first 45 minutes or so, and that's something that these other seniors. I know Zach, my son, will be playing basketball, but they don't practice till 5 o'clock. So right after school, he's got to be in the weight room along with some other guys that are going to be on that team. So, there's a lot of opportunities for them to still continue to work and get in that weight room. And, quite a few of them have a sports and fitness class that I have as well. So there's definitely plenty of time to lift, even if they're into another sport.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win. Good way to wrap up the year.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
Okay, Rick Hartley, head coach of the Blairsville Bobcats, says the Cats win at North Star 40-6.
All right, Chuck, thanks so much. 9:24. Let's get right to the West Shamokin Wolves last night. The Wolves took a long bus ride. And I asked John McCullough this morning, when'd you get home, Coach? 1:30.
1:30.
So it's probably not real happy to have me calling him here in the morning, was he? Second straight year that these two hook up in the Heritage Westpac Crossover Challenge, and the Wolves win it 28-0. Sweet start, too. First play from scrimmage, Brendan Mondi sweeps the ball around the left side, 64 yards for the score, adds the 2-point conversion. 22 seconds into the game, the Wolves are up 8-0. After Myersdale goes 3 and out, West Shamokin solidifies that lead. An 11-play, 58-yard drive ends with a 26-yard touchdown pass from Tyler Lightcap to Jaden Haswell. 14-0 after the 2-point conversion came up short. Early in the second quarter, good punt return. Blake Fairman returns at 31 yards, gives the Wolves good field position. They're 46. They pound the ball on the ground, march at 54 yards. Mondi, a 10-yard run on 4th and 1 from the Red Raiders' 35. They lost 5 on a penalty. But then Lightcap and Haswell hook up again on a 30-yard touchdown pass. Their second score of the night together, those two fellas. 20-0 West Shamokin after the failed 2-point conversion. Myersdale returns the ensuing kickoff to the Wolves' 23. And they get a first down all the way down to the 12-yard line. But then the Wolves stuff the Raiders' star quarterback Devin Kretschmann on 4th and 2 at the 4. And then the defense makes another stand after the Wolves had to punt from deep in their territory. Myersdale taking over at their 42. But the defense stopped them again on downs, and they stopped them a third time as well. 20-0 West Shamokin at the half. The defense turns away Myersdale again to the first position of the third quarter. They stop the Raiders at their 25-yard line. Mondi then scores his second of the night. He finishes with 176. He tops the 1,000-yard mark. A lot of guys went over 1,000 last night, Ward. Mondi is one of those. I think Matt Samoji. Penns Manor went over 1,000, and as we'll hear from Coach John McCullough, his quarterback went over the 1,000-yard mark for passing.
Yeah, they've got some good offensive players out there. We found that out last week. So they're continuing on that and on that pattern.
Well, McCullough probably rather offended that I called him so early this morning, but I did. And here he is. And a very sleepy Coach John McCullough joins us this morning. Coach, that was a long road trip for your boys last night, but you made it worthwhile, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. I mean, our kids played with a lot of focus last night. They knew what was at stake. To get to 6 wins, the second time in program history that has happened. To ensure that we were in the playoffs and to get that 6th seed. There was a lot to play for last night. Told the kids it didn't matter how far we were going. Even if I had to fly to where we were going there to get a win. And our kids played extremely well last night.
Well, they talk about bus legs, and you're on the bus longer than anybody else as you get all the way down to Myersdale for this game. But it seems like they had their legs right from the start as Brendan takes off on that touchdown run on the very first play from scrimmage. I don't know that bus legs are really true if it takes a team a while to get their legs underneath them, but the guys were flying right from the start.
Yeah, hey, it's all what you make of it. And that's what I was trying to tell them. You can't because initially our bus didn't arrive. We were trying to get down there earlier, and our charter didn't come. So. It's one of those things where it can be a distraction if you allow it to be. And, I don't think it was because our kids came out ready to play. Like I said, we knew what we had in front of us, and we needed to get that win, and they were focused.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you get the second score then on that touchdown pass from Tyler to Jaden. Those two have hooked up a lot this year, and boy, it was hitting again last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, both Tyler and Jaden have had outstanding seasons. We threw a fade to Jaden here for the second one, and he just blew right past the corner. Made a great catch, and it was a great throw by Tyler. And then the second one was a waggle. We were hitting him pretty good, especially with Brendan, on our power. And they came flying up on that, and Jade was wide open on the waggle for the second score.
Yeah. You get the punt return from Blake Fairman, gives you great field position, and you then just pound it up the field, and you go 54 yards. Brendan gets the 10-yard run on 4th and 1. That helps. And then you get the pass for 30 yards from, again, Lightcap to Haswell. And that's after you take a dead ball 5-yarder. Those, you look at those penalties and you think, it's just 5 yards. It might just be 5 yards, but it really changes the way you look at a drive, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It changes the way your play calling goes. So, yeah, I mean, any penalty, it is significant. So, it's just what you have to respond and come back.
Yeah. So 20-0 at the half, and your football club is in pretty good shape. But that 20-0, that can be a little bit deceptive. It really took a strong defensive effort for your team last night. You had some challenges last night. And you answered every one of them. Right.
A couple of times, they got the ball deep in our territory. We were able to step up and stop them on 4th down. They had a long completion to start the second half. They got them down in our territory, and like you said, we had a real strong defensive effort last night, and we stepped up to the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely did. Couple of things about your ball club last night. They get Brendan over that 1,000-yard mark. That's a whole team thing, isn't it? That offensive line has to be pretty proud.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you can, get somebody over 1,000, that is, it takes more than just one kid. That is a whole team, working together. The nice thing is, we still have some more opportunity to keep adding to that. And I think possibly Lightcap went over 1,000 last night passing too.
Wow.
So that's I don't know if that's happened where I don't think that's happened in school history where we've had a 1,000-yard passer, 1,000 rusher.
Yeah, it's just good stuff all around. And Coach, you win yourself your 6th game of the season. That guarantees you're going to have a winning record no matter what happens next week. But you are set for the AA playoffs, and I know that's exciting for the whole team.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Anytime that you can, you have the opportunity to continue your season. It's pretty exciting and a great opportunity. We're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, congratulations. I don't know if you're playing Friday or Saturday next week, but we'll catch up with you for the final edition of this year's Luther Ford Coaches Corner next weekend, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There's John McCullough, the West Shamokin Wolves, with the win last night, their 6th win of the season, so they're going to be guaranteed a winning season. Even if you lose in the first round, you finish 6-5, Ward, and that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's been that kind of year. Like I said, it's tough to win, and these records sort of prove that out, do they not?
They certainly do. One more game on last night's schedule, and it's Penns Manor and Berlin Brothers Valley. And the Comets, just as the rest of the Heritage Conference teams, come away with a win, 22-14 over Berlin. Scoreless for most of the first quarter. The team struggling with the rain and the mud. It really changed the character of this game. Neither team could do what they wanted.
Yeah, actually, I thought Berlin was had a slight advantage because of the home field. And my apologies to the Comets, because I usually pick them, but last week I didn't, and then they turned the tables on me.
Well, the Comets' Matt Samoji, we talked about guys being good mutters. Evidently he is, and so is Tommy Hamilton. Samoji runs through a tackle, busts one open for 78 yards, the first score of the night with 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Hamilton adds the 2. It's 8-0 Penns Manor. And in the second, the Comets get a short field, and they march 52 yards. Dimitri Lieb sweeps it in on a 29-yard run. They've got some fellas that can run the football.
Yeah, Smoji's had a good year, as has Hamilton. They've been pretty solid.
Samoji tops the 1,000-yard mark on the season. The conversion fails 14-0 Penns Manor at the half. You know how these teams, every team wants to get the football to start the second half rather than have it at the beginning of the game. So the coin toss gave Penns Manor the advantage they wanted. Tommy Hamilton always makes big plays. He did it in the third quarter. He took the second half kickoff 70 yards and went all the way for the score. Samoji added the conversion. Comets up 22-0 at that point. But then the Mountaineers' Cole Blubaugh answers later in the quarter, a 64-yard burst. It's 22-6. They still have to feel pretty comfortable. The field conditions just about unplayable. And we're hearing actually that some teams next week might be asking if they can play their games on other fields that are in better condition. So with the field conditions just getting worse and worse, the two teams slog through the fourth quarter. Berlin's Abe Countryman hits Peyton Harding with a 52-yard pass to the Comet 1, a dive into the end zone by Isaiah Paul, and a conversion by Blubaugh. Tightens it up to 22-14, but they're under a minute left in regulation. You know what that means? It means the onside kick. Who's going to get it? Penns Manor's going to get it. They recover it. They take 2 knees. They end the game. The Comets with another win, 22-14 for Penns Manor. And a chance for us to talk with the head coach of the Comets, Bill Packer. Our interview brought to you by Nelson and Associates Insurance.
Game plans, how important they are in the world of sports. Coming up with the right strategy to ensure success. Who's on your team to help you reach your goals in life and protect your assets? Jack Nelson of Nelson Insurance can develop the right insurance game plan for you. Nelson Insurance is an independent agent representing Erie Insurance and other fine companies. Call Nelson Insurance for a review of your financial game plan. Nelson Insurance, Franklin Street Clymer, 724-254-9276.
And he's Coach Bill Packer, the Penns Manor Comets, a 22-14 win over Berlin last night. You make that long road trip, Coach, and the guys come out on a really, really sloppy track. And that does that limit what you do as you start the football game and then as it progresses and the field gets worse and worse?
It did last night. Even to start the game, there was a lot of 3-and-outs both ways for us, and just couldn't get any traction, couldn't make cuts right, and it just got worse as the game went on.
Ball squirting out a few times too, wasn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. And we had a big play on the fourth series. Matt Samoji on the first play of the fourth series ran a trap up the middle. It was around 70-some yards, and that was special for him too, because that got him his 1,000 yards for the season, and that was big to get that out of the way for him.
Yeah, 78 on that, and he gets the first score of the night. It's one of those things where you have to keep trying that, don't you? Because at one point or another, somebody's going to break down, somebody's going to lose their contain, and all of a sudden you're going to have a hole, and Matt took advantage of it.
Yeah, and that's what happened. We ran the play a few times and nothing. We couldn't get anything out of it, but we know that's a big play, and if he can just get through that first wave, that he's gone, and that happened, and then Tommy Hamilton ran in the 2-point conversion, and we go up 8-0.
Yeah, and then in the second quarter, you get that short field after the punt, and you take over at the 48-yard line, and Dimitri then ends that drive, taking it 29 yards on the sweep. He's got a long loping stride, doesn't he?
He does. He broke out. We thought he was tackled, and all at once we see him going down the sideline. And, that kid has really come on. He's played well, not only running with the ball, but his blocking has really gotten better for the other guys, too.
All right, 14-0 at that point, and that ends the half, and you are set. We know how you love to do things with the football on that first possession of the third quarter. Probably weren't expecting it to be on the kickoff, though, were you?
Right. We like getting that ball to start the third quarter, and there again, a kickoff, and Tommy took it all the way. I don't know how many yards it was for sure, but it was a
70.
Nice run. It was 70 yards.
Yeah.
And he made some cuts, which I didn't know if he was going to go down or not, but a couple of nice blocks, and they created a seam for him, and he went.
Well, that's, Coach, talk about blocking on a kickoff or on a punt, especially on a kickoff since everybody's set up for that purpose, and how often these long runs are called back because of a penalty. But if you block it right and you use the guy's momentum against him, there can be an opening there, and Tommy found one.
Yeah, you try to set up a wall for him, and we practice on that all the time. A lot of times a kid will, try to make a big block and hit someone in the back or something, but thankfully we didn't see any penalty flags. The kids really did a nice job and created that seam for him.
So now you're playing in a mud bog, and you have a 22-0 lead at that point. Berlin does get a drive and a score, actually a 64-yard run. It's 22-6 at that point, and you're into the fourth quarter, and it's just a mess on the football field. But they get the long pass, they get the touchdown and the conversion, 22-14. But you're under a minute to go in regulation, and here your boys setting up, knowing there's an onside kick coming.
Yeah, we felt pretty good. They had a long ways to go. It was, 22-12 or 14 there, and or 22-6, and then they throw that long pass, get behind us. That was the one thing defensively that really upset me last night, because we know that you can't leave them get a big score on you there, and that made it a game then, and they got the 2-point conversion, and then now it makes it a one-score game. So now you're on your heels, and we knew that onside kick was coming, and thankfully we got it, and we're able to run the clock out.
All right, Coach. So you're looking next week. Actually, you're looking this afternoon at the Conemaugh Valley football game against Marion Center. We're going to have that on Cat Country, because that really will ultimately decide who you've got next week, huh?
Yeah, I believe it will. If Conemaugh would win that game, I believe we'll be playing Conemaugh Friday night at home, and we're rooting for these heritage teams. So even though I like to play someone different than a heritage team, it looks like if Marion Center beats them, we'll be playing Salzburg at home Friday night. So.
Hey, how about the Heritage Conference? The first night of the crossovers, and they shut them out.
Yeah, that's something special too. That goes to show you this conference is a really good conference, and it's a tough conference. And I was glad to see that last night.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Coach, we'll talk with you next week.
All right, Todd.
All right, there's Bill Packer, and he doesn't know. We don't know where these teams are playing. Our speculation is that Penns Manor would play Saturday. He's thinking probably Friday. We'll all know after the meeting tomorrow who's playing when. That's the important thing. We've got two more things to do here this morning, Ward. First of all, actually three. We've got to name our Haas's Steak and Sea House Player of the Week, and we'll do that. But we have two games that left on the schedule that we have not covered yet. One of them, big playoff implications for Marion Center. If they win today, they're in. to the District 6 AA playoffs. And Coach Adam Rising is up with us next. It's the Marion Center Stingers making the trip to play the Conemaugh Valley Blue Jays this afternoon, with all kinds of implications. Cat Country 106.3 FM, 1245 airtime, 1 o'clock kickoff with Chuck Clark calling the action this afternoon. Our interview with Adam Rising brought to you by Weaver Pools and Spas.
Lakin here from Weaver's Pools and Spas. We love football season. We're big fans of the Stingers. Good luck to Coach Rising and the team this season. Spa season is right around the corner. Come see us for the best spas on the market. If you want a new pool, don't delay. We're currently booking next year's projects. Weaver's Pools and Spas, 1905 Philadelphia Street, Indiana.
And he is Adam Rising. The Marion Center Stingers getting set this afternoon to take on the Conemaugh Valley Blue Jays. That's like old times for Marion Center, huh? Playing some afternoon football, Adam.
Yeah, we've been joking all week, especially coaches and a former player, actually two former players on my staff that played 1 o'clock games, and we've been teasing all week, saying we're using it as a tradition, even though we had some argumental points on whether it was a perk or not in our favor back in that time. But kids are looking forward to Ottawa. It's been a few years. We used to scrimmage Conemaugh Valley every year. Well, when I was a player and as a coach for a while. So make a trip back down to CV. Our kids are excited for it to see a different opponent.
Well, I remember a pretty exciting Saturday afternoon game at Laurel Valley when you were a player. We did that game, you know.
Remember that one?
Yeah, where you upset Laurel Valley.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal ball game that Coach Page had a phenomenal team that year, and I remember the Heflinger boy and a couple other big kids that they had. It was about 95 degrees, if you remember that, Todd.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do.
That was one of my best memories as a player, for sure.
I remember we had to go up on top of the roof there at the press box because it was so small. All right, Coach, so you've seen Conemaugh Valley, and you've sort of digested them. What kind of a football team are they?
They're a nice football team. I think their record's 4-5, but just like us, could have a few more wins in their favor from what I've seen. Some nice things. Quarterback's a real nice athlete. We've been impressed with him, the McAllister boy. I've heard a lot of good things about him, just being a good athlete, phenomenal baseball player. Quarterback and plays linebacker. And they do a little mix of things. They line up double tight, double wing, and they're coming straight at you, and they're going to dive you and toss you, and QB beat you. And a little mix of a 4-3 on defense, sometimes a 5 front, but they got a real nice tight end. It's about 6'5", 250. Moving back in the backfield when do some different steps with them. And they got another nice wing back, number 22, that they do some good things. They they're I don't want to say they're simple in the aspect of what they run, but it's not a very complex formation aspect from us from a preparation standpoint. Kind of like the old Laurel Valley offense, where you kind of know what's coming, and you just got to defend it.
They haven't had a lot of success in recent years, but they've always had very athletic kids, and maybe they haven't had the size to put together with the athleticism, or maybe it's been the other way around. They had size, but the kids weren't really athletic. But this year's team has put some things together. Yeah,
you're exactly right. I mean, I'm not sure when the last time they had a win this season with 4 W's. But up front, they got some nice ball players, solid backs, and Coach Malecki was teasing yesterday and said, hopefully they don't bring a Gumby back. Remember that name? They Gumby boys down there that were phenomenal athletes. And they said the McAllister boy, he's thrown for 800 yards or so, rushed for a little over 900 yards. So he's a very respectful athlete that you got to respect the variety of things that he can throw at you.
Yeah. All right, so your team, coming off the loss to United last week, what's it been like in practice this week? Recovering from the loss, you're always beat up after a football game, but it's a little bit easier to recover when you've got a W instead of an L.
I tell you what, having this extra prep week, having an extra day here in this week from a preparation standpoint has been nice. We bounced back Monday, got the guys in the pool, and got some soreness worked out and able to watch film and get a good lead on what we're going to see. Kids are bouncing back. I would say I always have a tough time bouncing back after a loss. I'm not going to lie. I just had that mentality as a player and as a coach of not accepting losing. So I don't want to say don't deal with losing real well, but I'm a competitor, and a lot of our kids are competitors. And as a football team, we plateaued the last 2 weeks, and we've really taken strides and gains and moved forward from week one throughout the year and come on strong. And we plateaued a little bit offensively, defensively. So we got to get over that hump. We got to be content just where we're at and make a few plays here and there. They bounce back and they're hungry. The seniors are hungry for number 5. They know what's on the stake. That we laid out the point standing on where things are at right now. And hey, this is a must-win football game. There's a few other things that's out of our control, but what we can control is performing and playing a clean football game, cleaning some things up, cleaning some penalties up that's been out of character, and cleaning some turnovers up that we got to for sure up. And we just got to take another step. And so they're ready for the challenge and bouncing back strong and healthy.
Going to have it on Cat Country 106.3 FM. Coach, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, thank you.
12:45 airtime today for Marion Center, Conemaugh Valley, with all kinds of playoff implications. 9:49 now. We're headed toward the end of our Luther Ford Coaches Corner program for today. One more thing to do. It's the Appalachian Bowl, and that's next.
There's a lot to like about the 2018 Ford Focus at Luther Ford in Homer City.
As a matter of fact, what's not to like?
Safety's important, and the Ford Focus is ahead of the class with 5-star IIHS safety ratings.
If prices are killing you at the pump, you'll also like 34 MPG Highway.
And if affordability's an issue, Luther Ford has you covered there as well.
Just announced, get 0% APR for 60 months, plus you'll receive $1,000 Ford credit bonus cash.
And if you like leasing, you'll love this. Lease a 2018 Ford Focus SE for only $169 a month for 36 months with just $19.29 cash due at signing.
You heard right. $169 a month for 36 months with only $19.29 due at signing.
Security deposit waived. Taxes, title, and license fees extra. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. See dealer for details or call Luther Ford at 1-877-370-6292.
For all offers, take new retail delivery from Luther Ford by January 2nd.
Luther Ford, Route 119, Homer City.
Open late till 8, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
And open 24/7 at LutherFord.com.
The Luther Ford Coaches Corner program, AM 1450 WDID, 100.3 FM, and online. The Sports Channel, WDIDradio.com. Ward Hilliard tonight, you're at Windber High School. It's the Appalachian Bowl, third straight year. The Ligonier Valley Rams have been in it, and a third different opponent for them.
Yeah, it's been interesting for them, but they just keep steamrolling through. And, Shades, good team, had a great year, got a lot of good athletes. I can't see them winning. Others have said they have a shot if this and that happens. I don't see that happening. I think the strength of the line play has been the difference in all these games, Todd. Mm-hmm. And Ligonier certainly is the class act of the group with their offensive, defensive lines, and I think that'll be the difference.
Well, let's get the thoughts of Roger Beidel, who talked with Mark Burdig earlier this week.
We have Rams head coach Roger Beidel. Coach, I haven't seen you since week 1. Congratulations on rolling through another Heritage Conference season, and you're right back with one of your goals where you wanted to be back at the Appalachian Bowl, a chance at a three-peat.
Oh, thanks, Mark. And this is the second step in the process. Step 1 was to repeat as Heritage Conference champions, and now it's for our kids to have an opportunity to go into this Appalachian Bowl and see if we can't win our third straight Appalachian Bowl and represent our conference the best we can.
Coach, the Shade Panthers, they like to wing it all over the lot, don't they? Of course, you know a little bit about that yourself.
Well, but in comparison, I mean, we look like a conservative offense compared to what they're doing. They're going 5 wides, no backs, and it's bombs away. And from what we've seen, I mean, they don't kick extra points. I mean, it's up tempo. We're going to get kind of a bit of our own medicine in terms of tempo. You see them just coming up to the ball, getting ready for the ball's ready for play. You can't tell pace in film, but you know it's fast whenever they're standing there over the ball ready to go, and the referees are still getting it spotted. So it's something that we're going to have to be prepared for. Thankfully, we see it in practice, but again, it all starts with their quarterback. Outstanding football player. He's number 4 in the state of Pennsylvania all time in total yardage. Went over 10,000 yards. It all starts with him, and then their receiving core. Those guys make plays all over the place. 50-50 balls. I mean, they come down with them, and so we're really going to have to ball compete back there and tackle and try to keep things in front of us.
Does their quarterback Brady Fife compare to anybody that you've played either in conference or certainly in your playoff runs the past couple of years?
Not really. Some of the teams, they've thrown the ball around a little bit, but not like we're going to see tonight. Hopefully it's not true, but we might see 50-60 pass attempts tonight, and that's going to make for a long football game. But what that does is it puts so much pressure on people. And again, I used to be, back when we were the wing T, I used to prescribe to that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And if you can run the ball, you can control things. What I've learned, and one of the reasons we went to our offense, is that you can go 0-0 and then hit 14 and you're moving the sticks. You're going to strike out sometimes, using the baseball analogy, but as long as you still have the potential to hit home runs, the pressure's always on the defense. Really, there's no one like him. We haven't seen anybody, because he just does things that it's very rare, and that's why he's number 4 all time in the state of Pennsylvania.
Their leading receiver, Dawson Snyder, but he's just one of many they go to. Would he be your biggest concern?
He will, and you're going to see Aaron Totino helping out on him a lot. But they're all big. These are all big basketball players, and they're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and our defensive backs, the tallest kid we have back there is Johnny Beard, who's about 5'11". So, and they're basketball players, so they understand how to go rebound and different things like that, and ball compete. So for our standpoint, this is a different type of athlete that we've seen out there in the perimeter. In conference play and even last year in the playoffs, we've been able to match our guys up, lock them up man to man, and just have that athletic advantage going into the game. I don't know that I can confidently say we have that athletic advantage. It's going to be a matchup of athletes, and then on the defensive side, Mark, they do the same thing. I mean, they're going to challenge us. I haven't seen them play anything but cover 0 straight man, and that's going to pose a challenge as well. It's going to come down to our guys making plays. I'm sure they're very confident in their receivers, and we're confident in ours. And it's going to come down to really who can get pressure on the quarterback, and that's what we need to do defensively. And for us, we need to be able to run the football and control the line of scrimmage, and hopefully impose our will and maybe physically beat those guys up a little bit when they're on the defensive side, so that it loosens things up a little bit on the offensive side.
You've been so dominant in not only the regular season, but in these past 2 Appalachian Bowls. You got off to big leads early. I'm sure you'd like to make them chase you out of the gate.
We would. However, with their offense, it doesn't really matter. Going into the game, our mindset is that there's no lead that's going to be too safe unless that clock's running. If we can do that, I'll be surprised and I'll be very happy. But by the same token, that's not what we expect coming in. We're just going to spend a lot of time preparing our guys for the ball being all through the air, and get used to it, because you guys are going to have a long night.
We're used to some long nights. Coach, good luck here tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, head coach Roger Beidel in his 15th season with the Rams, looking for a three-peat in these Appalachian Bowls.
There you go. There's Roger Beidel talking with Mark Burdig. Ward, a couple of minutes for you and I to discuss this as the Rams take on the Panthers tonight at Winber Stadium.
Yeah, I think, again, Shade is going to pull out all the stops. They are a team that relies a lot on their quarterback. I believe his name is Fife, I believe, and he is a great athlete, not only in football but in basketball. And if they're going to have any chance, they're going to have success throwing the ball. The coach even said that he did not think they could stop Ligonier's offense that well, so they felt that they needed to get into a shootout, can you imagine, and outscore them. So it makes for an interesting dialogue. I wonder how well that could play out, especially in these conditions, that it may kind of slow the thing down a little bit for them. But they're going to give it a shot, and as I said, I just think the line play is definitely tilted to Ligonier side, and that's where I think will be the difference.
Well, one of the things about Ligonier Valley is they have the flashy passing game, but they've got the gritty run game too, with Kerry Miller.
They're strong in all phases, and it might be as good as they've been. This might be their best team. It's hard to say because the conference is, but this conference is a little stronger than what we gave it credit for starting out. And who knows? Anything can happen, as they always say.
We're learning all kinds of things about the Heritage Conference this weekend. Can the Heritage Conference sweep the 3 games today and have a 10-game sweep over the Westpac?
Amazing. This will be 3 years in a row that they've won these battles. It was 6-4 last year, and I thought, they're evening it up pretty good. Not to be.
Absolutely not. All right, we're going to come back and name our Hoss's Steak and Sea House Player of the Week next, here on the Luther Ford Lincoln Coaches Corner program.